Jawohl, Herr Kommandant.
Hello, this is Eden with Helix VR. Today I'll be previewing Final Assault by Phaser Lock Interactive. It's releasing for HTC Vive, Oculus Rift, and Windows Mixed Reality. This is an early access, real-time strategy title with a World War II theme. You can take control of battles by directing air and ground vehicles with your motion controllers. Did you ever play with toy army vehicles as a kid? If so, you'll probably want to try this out. In this game, you can choose one of the several military divisions to control and oppose in both single-player and multiplayer skirmishes. Each division has slightly different units, some favouring air, some favouring ground. More features are planned for the future, but I'll come to that later. You choose a level and appear over a battleground. Your goal? To take out enemy fortifications and their base while defending your own. You and your enemy both have a number of towers which need to be defended, as well as your base. If your base has its defences completely reduced, you lose the match. To do this, you need to create units to attack. Infantry automatically makes its way out from your base and towards the enemy, but vehicles you need to buy with money, as well as extra infantry. Money automatically generates as time goes on. If you're lucky, you can get some extra too by collecting the occasionally dropped crates on the floor. You control vehicles by touching them, holding the trigger, and drawing a path for them to follow. You can also select an enemy unit or fortification to direct your vehicle towards. I found this most fun in the planes, as you can make them follow your controller, swoop down to take out some infantry, and then back up and away. The units will automatically attack enemy units nearby where you send them, but unless you direct them, they often stay where they are. I admit, quite a few times I've forgotten about a couple of units which are left in a corner somewhere. Vehicles have different prices. You can buy a jeep with some riflemen on board for very little, and surprisingly, planes don't cost much either. Heavy armour and artillery, however, are quite expensive. That said, I believe a team of them are the best option to attack the enemy fortifications. It's also relatively cheap to buy trucks which constantly spit out infantry, which is good for slowing the enemy down. In a match I played earlier, I paired infantry to slow my opponent down and block their path, while my artillery destroyed them from safety. There are a decent number of vehicles, all variations on the basic types. For example, on top of heavy tanks, there are heavy tanks which use a flamethrower, and small planes which drop bombs instead of firing bullets. Some infantry units spawn regular soldiers, while others spawn rocket soldiers. Now, as well as the default vehicles, you can spend money in the match to unlock extra vehicles and a base attack. The base attack can aim rockets anywhere on the battlefield, and completely take out a clump of enemies. One time, for example, the enemy had about 10 heavy armors defending by his base. I called the attack. 10 seconds later, he had nothing defending his base. From there, it was easy to move in and rip the base apart. Good lesson to not keep too many units close together if you can help it. Now, as mentioned, this is a preview. The pre-early access build of the game I'm currently playing only has a few maps available. Eventually, there are supposed to be 12 maps at least, possibly more. The plan is to add a single player campaign mode with about 5 hours of gameplay too, customization features for your avatar, and more. Of note, cross-platform is planned too, with a mention of PSVR. Games which can cross-play between PC and PSVR are rare, so it'll be brilliant if they can pull it off. Single player is fun, but I personally had the best time playing online due to more varied tactics used. That and I beat Terminator in every match I played against him. I didn't really have any big issues with the game, but I could see some improvements on ways to control the vehicles. Having to grab each one individually and draw a path can be quite difficult if you're trying to move several of them to the opposite side of the map. Having a way to group a few temporarily to command them all to the same place or enemy would be useful, or maybe even overall orders, such as all tanks go to this point. I personally found Final Assault to be quite a lot of fun, if limited. It has a lot of promise, and I can imagine it doing very well if it implements all of the promised features. It gave me a similar feel to the combat in Command & Conquer, with the way the units needed to be bought, placed and used to take objectives. Once again, this was Eden from Helix VR. If you'd like to see more content like this, please remember to like, subscribe, hit that alert button too.
Dropping cargo crate now.